Hey guys, and welcome back. Big story today. President Trump and HHS have publicly linked Tylenol and paracetamol use during pregnancy with autism. And as a result, they've announced a government review and new research initiatives. Now, that has set off immediate headlines and heated reactions. So today I just wanted to quickly cut through the noise and walk through actually what the science says, why the politics matter, and what should we do and should we care, okay, responsibly. So we're going to be talking about Trump, Tylenol, and autism today. What happened today, 22nd of September 2025, is that the White House and HHS announced that there is evidence linking prenatal paracetamol use with higher rates of neurodevelopmental differences, including autism. And the FDA has said that it is going to review labeling and notify physicians. Now, the administration also highlighted some early stage treatments and some research priorities. Now, this is a big public health headline for obvious reasons, and it's really important for us to unpack it carefully. So what does the peer-reviewed research actually show? The short answer is that the research is mixed, and I made a video about this about a month ago, so I've been looking into this long before this has become a headline. The research is mixed. It is a multiple large observational study, and it has reported an association with maternal paracetamol use being slightly higher, causing a rate of a slightly higher outcome of things such as autism, ADHD. But the association is not the same as causation, okay? Now, some of the better controlled designs for comparison, sibling comparison analysis, which is what we use in studies, finds that the link weakens or disappears when you control for family level factors. So this is looking into whether or not people in the family have ADHD and autism. And that's a major reason why present scientists are urging caution before assuming a causal link with this study. So we have to be very careful about association and causation. These are not the same things, okay? The study is not saying that paracetamol use causes autism or ADHD. They're saying that there is an association. Okay, that can still be problematic and it's still something to look at. Now, this matters because the observational study can be biased by things like confounding indication. This is where women take paracetamol because they have a fever or an infection or pain, and those underlying conditions themselves can affect fetal development. Many studies also rely on self-report or prescription records, and so timing and dose are often imprecise within these studies. Now, good science tries to address those limitations, and when it does, the alleged effect often shrinks. Now, there are strengths and weaknesses of the evidence that we see within this study. Some of the strengths is that the question is being studied in large population. Some of the data sets being studied in this metadata study includes hundreds of thousands to millions of births. And researchers are exploring plausible biological mechanisms, which is the right approach to science. Some of the weaknesses within this study is that the core evidence is observational. There's potential for residual confounding. Studies in how they measure exposure and outcome. The studies vary in how that they measure exposure and outcome. That means that more high quality work is required before we look at rewriting public health rules. Now, what's needed is better controlled studies, biomarkers, and mechanisms. So something that is a practical takeaway for women and caregivers in regards to this is that if you're pregnant or you're caring for somebody who is, don't panic. Don't make medication changes based on headlines, okay? Untreated fever and severe pain in itself can be harmful in pregnancy. And the current professional guidance from major obstetric groups emphasizes the need for balanced advice. So use paracetamol when necessary and talk about it with your clinician about alternatives and risks. In the short, consult your healthcare provider rather than social media. Now, the politics of this has changed the conversation entirely, mainly because everybody hates Donald Trump. I don't hate Donald Trump, but a lot of people hate Donald Trump, okay? Now, this story has been so highly politicized, and that matters because it's actually causing people to interpret facts in a different manner. Now, when a polarizing political figure, such as Donald Trump, announces a health claim, many people reflexively dismiss it because they hate Donald Trump. Other people might accept it uncritically because they love Donald Trump. Now, that dynamic makes it really hard for the public to actually focus on the real scientific questions. And the announcement was also tied to figures with history of anti-vaccine views, which primed media and experts to treat the claim skeptically because of RFK's history. Now, none of that means that we should ignore this study. None of it means that we should ignore the science. We should assess the methods and the data, not the messenger. Okay, just because Donald Trump is the person that's brought this to the forefront, it doesn't mean that it's something that we be thrown out. Donald Trump didn't conduct this study, nor did he cause it to be done. This was something that was done by Harvard University. It's a massive study. I looked at this long before Donald Trump looked at it. So judge claims by evidence, okay, not by who's told you the evidence. Now, this research matters ethically and practically for a few reasons. So, why should we care about it? Why should we care? Because understanding prenatal risk factors could help to reduce preventable harm and improve long-term health. Now, importantly, research goes into causes or treatments, and that must be framed ethically. It's about improving people's lives, not erasing people. And if you're, again, thinking like that, you're thinking in polarization. Come back. Take a deep breath, okay? Now, autism is a very complex neurodevelopmental difference, one that I have, before you come for me in the comments. If you don't know I'm autistic, hi, I'm autistic. So I'm not some anti-autistic person who's trying to eradicate autism, okay? Because that's dumb. So autism is a complex neurodevelopmental difference. Health research should be aimed at supporting better outcomes, access to better healthcare, better quality of life, and absolutely reducing stigma, not suggesting any dehumanizing solutions. That framing matters both scientifically and both morally. And if you don't know, I'm currently studying a master's in psychology where I'm actually doing study for autism and neurodiversity and so on and so forth. So again, as somebody who's got a hand in the game. Now, we have to be aware that although the administration that announced this review and raised these questions may be people that you don't like, it is still worth investigating. Now, the current best reading of this evidence is cautious. There are some associations in these studies, but a study that needs to have better control designs, we may see that if we redo these studies with those better control designs, that it weakens no association. So don't change your treatment plans without talking to your clinician. Don't have knee-jerk reactions to things because you don't like people. We need to support more rigorous research. We need to demand clear public health messaging. And we need to keep compassion front and center when we talk about conditions like autism. If this helped, I hope it did, I'd like you to like and subscribe. I'll put some key sources down in the description so that you can read them yourselves. And if you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch. Thanks for watching. I hope that this helped, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.